right, we can actually start the next session. I have Jordan here. Hey, Jordan.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Great.
Oh, I didn't realize I could change my name and remove the atlas and move it to the second bit. I'll do that next time.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that next time. Welcome, Jordan. It's actually the first time that we ever meet, so it's really cool to meet you. Really great to see you. I'm a big fan of your work. I'm excited to have this opportunity to chat with you about staffing and also challenge the status quo in staffing a little bit. Just to give the audience a little bit of an insight, I titled this session on purpose the one-person billion-dollar staffing company to spark a discussion and gather some ideas about the future of our industry. OpenAI's Sam Altman made a bold prediction. The next billion-dollar companies will be built by just one person, leveraging AI, automation, technology to scale operations without the need for large teams. But how does this really apply to staffing? Can a single recruiter become the $1 billion staffing company with AI tools, or is it just a tech world fantasy? So for this session, we sit down with Jordan, who is the founder of Atlas ATS, to explore what it takes to build AI-driven, hyper-efficient staffing companies. We'll discuss why legacy ATSs and CRM systems are failing to keep up, how AI-first platforms are reshaping the industry, and what the future of the staffing industry will look like. And this isn't just theory. Jordan is actively building the future. As the founder of Atlas, he is developing an AI-first ATS CRM designed to maximize automation, reduce recruiter workload, reduce admin, and obviously create scalability. Jordan has spent the last years working on the intersection of staffing and technology, and his expertise is perfectly positioned to build the next platform in the space. Jordan, before we jump into all these questions and discussions, why don't you introduce yourself and give us a little bit of a background and why you're building Atlas?
That's a tremendously good introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you. 18 months into building the AI-first CRM in Atlas, which has been great. And before that, I founded another business in the expert network industry, very similar to staffing. The only difference is instead of placing someone in a full-time position, you're organizing a 1-hour consultation, usually private equity firms. Mm-hmm. So we got that one to $40 million or so, and GPT-2 came along, and for me it was a huge light bulb moment. And I made one of the many bets that I've made. This one went okay. That actually this is going to fundamentally change the way we work. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be most acute in services businesses because, mm-hmm. as we all know, no one likes their CRMs, not even mm-hmm. the biggest ones. And most people are spending over half their time, maybe 3/4 of their time on administrative tasks, which don't mm-hmm. do anything. You kind of have to do it.
Yeah.
So the view is actually, let's actually deconstruct the whole process of staffing and say, mm-hmm. we've got this amazing tool, this amazing mm-hmm. technology. So we know the outcome of staffing. We're trying to place candidates. So what does the new process look like that eliminates all of that admin? Mm-hmm. And so that is the reason why we're building it. And it's been a rather enjoyable 18 months so far.
Crazy. I've seen your progress. I will follow you on LinkedIn. I see your updates. You're innovating crazy fast. Every week there's new updates coming out, and that's exactly how I think it should be. Same as we do at Candidly. We work and innovate in the industry, and I think that's where the future is going. But let's start with the big idea. I'm not sure if you're gonna agree with that, but when you hear the phrase "one-person billion-dollar staffing company," what comes to mind, and what do you think is realistic, or is it just a crazy idea?
Well, the guy's a genius, and what he's done and the cabal of people that have been building this is really wonderful. It's going to create some really amazing work as we go forward, because a lot of the crap parts of work are going to disappear. Mm-hmm. Do I think that you can get a one-person billion-dollar company? No, to be blunt. Look, at the end of the day, the big businesses come because of moats and competitive advantages. Mm-hmm. If it's possible for one person alone to make $1 billion company, it's probably possible for someone else. Mm-hmm. And so what I actually really subscribe to is what's called the Jevons paradox. And it's that when technology launches and grows productivity or brings this huge increase in productivity, actually we end up consuming significantly more of it. So we just have this insatiable appetite. And now it's not that, oh, because we can now get rid of 60% of our admin, we only have to work 40% of the time. What's most likely to happen is that we're just going to now work the same amount, but just do less of the crap stuff and way more of the good stuff. So when you think about the service of recruitment and staffing, it's just going to get 10x better, because now you can deliver huge amounts of service output with way less input. And at the end of the day, it's an arms war in that respect. You want to deliver the best service. Just because you can now deliver 5x better, if someone delivers 10x better, they're going to win. So that's what I think is going to happen. You're just going to see it, a normalization and fundamental changes in the service business, particularly.
Yeah. And which part of the staffing, sorry, I just removed you from the stage. Which part of the staffing, cycle do you think will be automated first, or which part of the, tasks that a recruiter is doing on a daily basis, you can see, being automated with AI?
I'm wondering if a lot of people know that they should do stuff and they don't. So it's the classic, has everyone filled in their data yet? Have you logged that call? Have you done your admin? And let's be blunt, no one really is doing it. And so I think the first change is that admin will just be done. And we know why you have to do admin, because it theoretically has a value in the future. As long as you spoke to this candidate at one point, it might become valuable. Maybe not now, because whatever, you've screened the candidate out. It might not be valuable now, and that's why we don't do it. It might become valuable in 6 months' time because something more relevant comes along. But no one really thinks about the 6 months when they're so busy for the today. So I think the first thing you're going to see is just admin that's never been done, that should have been done, is all going to be done. And then there's going to be some quite interesting benefits as people realize, wow, we actually had all this data. We collected all this data. And now we get the first time to use it all the way we kind of intended it to be used in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at some of the some of the steps, from business development, job intake, sourcing, screening, I'm curious to understand, like from your perspective, as you're building the technology, what are the things that you're focusing on most now, and where do you see the most activity and usage? For example, I don't know, with AI, bots or voice, voice interviews. Like, do you see that being already used and successfully used?
So, really interesting point. I actually I haven't made up my mind on it yet. For me, what I've felt is that the first thing that's used, clearly, it's about memory. We've gone down the note taker route. That was last year's big product, the AI note taker, because it's great. You don't have to write all these notes anymore. Now you don't have to worry about forgetting the 7 interviews you've done when you need to write it up the next day or after a long and heavy weekend. And so the first thing is, I think for us, what we focused on, I'll tell you, kind of, you asked about a few of those items. It's the memory, the storage of memory for the first time, because we think that's the foundation of really powerful agents. When it comes to some of the cool edge plays and ecosystem plays, I'm not quite sold on things yet. Like sourcing, I think is really interesting, agentic sourcing. But it's only as good as the data that it has access to. And that data is not great. So yes, you can use a third-party provider to find people who have both software developer and Node in their resume, but there's a million of those. So it's not that difficult to find the same people on LinkedIn. And you have actually more data at LinkedIn than you would with an agent. So while the agent can run 1,000 times faster than you, it only has 20% of the data that you have. So they're kind of handicapped there. So we've looked at agentic sourcing a few times, but I haven't found someone who's switched over to it fully or sees it as a slight gimmick. And interviewing is an interesting one. I can definitely see that, like the forms that people have to fill in, the application forms. I can definitely see it being more pleasant experience to have a very short 5-minute AI interview just to screen things down.
Yeah,
because they're horrific.
for
The same
inbound.
one-way interviews where you it just says the question just pops up on the screen. And you've got to just talk to yourself.
Yeah.
They're horrible products, and the adoption shows that. But I think I could definitely see that being at the beginning. The beginning process of a recruitment, just to get the screening down. But it's tough, right? Because the funny thing is we forget the other side of the equation with this. You say, well, we can have agents that are going to tell me what the best resumes are. But of course, all of the resumes are now also being optimized by agents also. So what do you do there? And then the other thing, of course, Jared, the reason why I think staffing is going to have the best 3 years ever, because if you can't tell the difference between the 1,000 different resumes that you receive if you're an internal talent person, you ask them, oh, can you do this one-way interview or this AI-powered interview? The best talent is going to say, I'm not fucking doing that.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Because this recruiter who knows me, he knows I'm great, and he says, look, Jordan, I've got these 3 great jobs. Don't worry having to spend 2 hours of your time chatting to AI. I'm going to put you right in front of hiring managers immediately.
Yeah.
So, I know you can see where these ideas are coming from. But it's kind of ignoring the other side of the equation. Yeah.
So I think that's a good segue into a topic that I wanted to discuss, which is basically, the traditional staffing models is all about relationship. Some would argue that AI, can't replace the human touch, and recruiters, the role of the recruiter will change. What is your take on it? Like, what do you think the role of the recruiter will change over the next 3 to 5 years?
It's going to be bloody good.
What
is going to happen.
Yeah.
We know that recruitment, it's a sales job to an extent, it's a relationship job, but it demands this admin that is just, you can't do enough of it. You just cannot. You spend an hour on admin. There is another hour following directly behind. You never run out of it. And most of the really top billing recruiters all usually say, I'm crap at admin. I'm just good at this part of the business. So I think what you're going to see is this industry, this job, this career is going to become much more enjoyable, to be honest, because all the crap parts of it are going to disappear. And you're going to get to spend time with the candidates or reaching out in really, with the fun bits of business development rather than the arduous aspects of it. And so that's where I think it will go. But there's obviously, as you know, there's so many flavors of recruitment, all the way from exec search to temp.
Yeah.
I think every one of them is going to see things in different lights,
Yeah. I agree. No, it's going to be definitely the next, as I mentioned also in my intro, the next 3 to 5 years. I'm super excited about the industry. It's going to be really thriving. Let's switch gears a little bit to technology. You're building the AI-first ATS CRM with Atlas. I know it from firsthand experience. Building technology these days is just much faster, much better. It's going to be much cheaper. The features that are being launched are, it's incredible pace how we can build things today. What's different from your approach building Atlas CRM today, almost like from scratch to legacy systems that are on the market?
So how long are we? When did GPT-4 come out? Feb 23?
23, yeah.
So we're 2 years in, yeah. Show me a proper AI-powered feature from a legacy CRM. And I don't mean rewrite this for me, make it longer, make it shorter. Show me actual AI, which is really doing something that's going to help. And I think you'll be searching for a very, very long time.
I agree.
Look, this is the biggest paradigm shift since the birth of the internet. Back in the early 90s or mid 90s, there were recruitment firms and they were doing work with some form of system of record, maybe a lot more pen and paper, maybe a lot more on-premise software.
Mm-hmm.
And when the cloud came along, the benefit of switching outweighed the cost for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those businesses that were thriving in the mid-90s graduated through that revolution technologically?
Mm-hmm.
None.
Mm-hmm.
Right? None. They had all of the clients, they had all of the capital, they all failed. Because when I think the issue that they have, and it's like the victimhood of success, is that you build an ATS CRM with the technology you have, and it powers in this industry a human process, a very, very big human process. And now that process is going to fundamentally change. Because if you're a legacy big player, you have all these people using your software the way it used to be used. And if you try and change it, everyone's going to get quite irate because it doesn't work. It doesn't fit the processes they've built over years and years and years. So I think you're seeing it. I think you're seeing a very clear lack of innovation. We are a much smaller business at this point. We have less funding, not for long though. And what we've achieved, and it's just partially because we're post AI. You're a newer business too, and you've achieved a huge amount in quite a short space of time. You can see, there's a few businesses like that, like the guys at Hire same. That when you are not encumbered by the legacy data models that big ATS CRMs are, you can actually build useful things. Whereas it's just too expensive and complex for a legacy provider to really materially offer something different. So I think for us, like we're, just based on the fact we're unencumbered by, old-fashioned processes, we get to have a right good go at it. And that means sometimes the Atlas is so different that some people are like, oh my gosh, so, I've been doing this for 20 years. It's not for me. And that's totally fine. Totally fine. Our plan is that I believe in a recruitment industry where you do no admin anymore. And this is the bet we're making.
Yeah, it's a definitely good bet. And, just to get back to the point on, legacy systems and not innovating fast enough or building, staffing companies that are using legacy systems today, maybe some using them for 10, 20 years already, what should they be aware of? And when they think about the future of their business, I'm just thinking if I would start a staffing company today, how there's so much better tools out there that I can start building much, much faster than incumbents. That as an incumbent staffing company that is around for the last 15 years, I would be scared actually that my competition that is coming into the market now will overtake me like almost immediately.
Well, I can envisage the boardroom discussions. They'll look and say, "Oh, it looks really cool, but we can bolt on a couple of AI bits from our traditional system, and it's like the bandage, but it doesn't really do anything." And then slowly but surely, your top billers say, "I don't want to do any bloody admin. Why are we using an old system?" And they might think, actually, I'm one of the top billers, and I can now get software that is going to make me top biller times 5. Like the benefit of me doing my own thing is now way greater. And of course, then what you're going to see, because as an example, given that Atlas knows everything that everyone at the company says, here's reads and write, the service level you can deliver is just astronomically larger. To remember perfectly every meeting you have with your client and be able to adjust based on that perfect recollection, you'll just run rings around people. And I think what they'll see is that their revenue will slow, stop, and reverse. And there'll be some people that will make the bet and say it's going to be painful, but the future is here. And some won't.
Yeah. And can you walk us? I know you're posting a lot of those like snippets and use cases on LinkedIn. Can you take us maybe through one of the use cases that stands out now with Atlas that people are using most?
Yeah. So clearly the highest use is the note taking, right? So all our clients are seeing all their phone calls and notes just synced, magically synced. And then they can query, it's like ChatGPT on every single person in your database, but ChatGPT based on the combined eidetic memory of your entire company. So it's almost like there's a lot of ways you can use it. One of our clients made this interview template where he was like, I want to become a really good interviewer. These are the things I want to ask. Can you just rate me at the end of every interview? Or did I ask all the things I need to? whatever.
Yeah.
Another one which is getting really good traction is the fact that we're now optimizing and automating all your tasks. Because again, note takers obviously can create the tasks and takeaways from a meeting, but it's only from one part of your communication stack. Atlas has everything, which means it creates automatically the tasks that you are committing to on LinkedIn, on email, on phone, on video, and soon WhatsApp. So that means that really it is a total, fully generated, and I wrote on LinkedIn yesterday, I'm kind of hating it currently because it's showing me how little, how much I'm off. I'm promising to people and how little I seem to be getting done.
Yeah.
But those are some of the cool things that we've done. And, there's going to be some very bananas things coming out in the next 6 to 8 weeks, which I'm very excited for, but I'm going to keep that one quiet until we get there.
Perfect. That sounds good. And when you would give advice to a recruiter or somebody that is starting out, maybe coming out of a big agency, trying to build his own business now, what are the things that you would give this person as an advice or takeaway? Can be just starting out the business, choosing technology. What's the best advice you'd give to somebody?
Advice technological or advice of just you're about to become an entrepreneur? Which one?
Both. Yeah. Technological from your perspective, and maybe just a piece of advice on building a business like you've done.
The tech advice, I say buy Atlas and you'll make more money is what I would say. But on an entrepreneurial level, I think I would say that, it's the best journey. I'm sure you agree. It's the best journey you'll ever go on. It's roller coaster of emotions, and nothing's ever as bad as you think it is. Nothing's ever as good as you think it is. So always try to, every little win that you get, make sure you celebrate it. And when you get knocked back, and you absolutely will, just try to find a way to be okay with it. And, that's a very big open question. I think every founder and every has different ways they do it or different abilities to cope. But I think that's that would be, as an entrepreneur, a fellow entrepreneur, what I would say.
Perfect. Thank you, Jordan, for sharing the insights. It's clear that AI-first staffing isn't just a theory, it's already happening. And I'm super excited for the next years. Thank you for joining this session today and being part of the World Staffing Summit. I really appreciate it. And for those who want to continue the conversation, follow Jordan on LinkedIn. He's posting great content every day. And obviously check out Atlas. I think that's the future of the industry. So I'm very excited that you were able to join us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me as well. Yeah, you take care and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much. See you soon.